Hi everyone, and welcome to the fourth video in my series on stress management. In the previous videos, which I've linked in the description below, we explored how you can use your stress red flags to identify your stressors, and then how you can challenge your perceptions of these stressors to reduce the overall impact of them on you personally. In this video, we'll be exploring the different approaches that you can take to try and eliminate and reduce any other stressors that you might have. The final video in the series will then explore how you can build your resilience and response to stress long term. As always, if you want to be notified when that final video comes out, do hit the subscribe button below and you'll get a little notification. But following on from the previous video, there will likely already be several stressors that you've been able to reduce to a manageable level by challenging your perception of that stressor. And as we turn to looking at different approaches you could take to reduce or eliminate your remaining stressors, I do want to emphasize that the goal here is not to get to stress zero, because that's quite an unattainable goal, but rather to get you to a level where you have a level of stress that is manageable and allows you to have a happy, healthy life alongside of it. With that in mind, looking at the remaining stressors on your list that you put together in video 1 and 2, how you go about reducing them will depend on the zone categories you put them in video 2. So where stressors fall within your zone of control, this is where you have the most ability to improve things for yourself and you can directly impact that stressor. So some of the things that you can consider in trying to reduce those stressors is, for example, the timing of that stressor. So as someone who has control over your calendar, could you change the timing of that stressor so you only have one major one per day, and then try and surround them with neutral or nourishing activities to help reduce that overall buildup of stress that can happen over the course of the day? If it's a stressor that's caused by you feeling underqualified to do something, then again, you can have that zone of control by actively engaging in training, or even delegating that particular activity to other team members who are more skilled or adept at carrying out that activity. A thing to bear in mind within our zone of control is that we very often pick up superfluous stressors through a force of habit or by following, the done way of things. And where you're looking at your zone of control stressors, I'd ask you to challenge yourself by asking, if this activity wasn't done, what would be the real impact on me, my team, my organization? What is the actual intention of this activity that's causing me stress? So if I had to completely redesign how I approach this from scratch, how would I approach it? In an ideal world, how would I do it? And if that ideal world or that from scratch approach is different from your reality, then do challenge yourself as to why you can't do things that way now. If there are real barriers in the way, such as there's standard procedures that you can't change, then do explore how you might take certain steps to get closer to that ideal state. And there'll be several stressors that can be reduced or even completely eliminated purely by challenging yourself over whether they need to happen the way they've always been done. Turning to stressors that fall within your zone of influence, these are stressors that you might not be able to directly impact them, but you may have the ability to influence change around you for the better. And when you're trying to reduce or eliminate these stressors, consider who you need to work with to bring about your desired change. Who are the decision makers or more influential people that have this stressor within their zone of control? How might you be able to recruit them as a collaborator to bring about your desired change? And as you explore that, it might be that you'll require certain behavior changes from others around you to bring around the result that you want. And when considering that, think about what is the benefit for those other people by having that behavior change. And wherever possible, do find the win-win, because it is not a sustainable approach to bring about a benefit for you at the expense of a colleague. That statement stands regardless of your role within an organization, but especially as a CEO, you ultimately need to balance the stress across your entire team. So reducing your stress levels by raising that of a direct report will ultimately just result in you needing to support a stressed out colleague, and that will probably raise your stress levels as well. So find ways that the change that you need to bring about is both beneficial to them and beneficial to you. Finally, in thinking about stressors that fall within your zone of concern, this is where you need to recognize that you will probably have a very limited ability to bring about any change. And these ones specifically might be the ones where you need to consider more your perception and reaction to that stressor, as explored in the previous video, rather than trying to directly reduce or eliminate the source of stress. However, if it's a really major stress that you feel uncomfortable of dealing with, the thing that you need to remember is you can always remove yourself from the situation. And this might mean that you need to consider making a big change, such as changing jobs, relationships, or whatever else might be behind the stressor. And it can be scary to make that big of a change, but the thing that I want you to remember and centralize in yourself is that you are worth taking care of. If you feel you can't cope with the stress, or you don't want to put up with the stress, then it's okay to walk away. It is okay to prioritize your own health. So I hope that's helpful. If you take away anything from this video series, I hope it's that you recognize that you have a lot of control and power over your stress. Stress is not something that's just done to you or that you have to put up with. It's something you can actively manage and actively reduce so that you can lead a healthy life. Now, the final video of this series, I will also be looking at how you can build your resilience long-term alongside these stress management techniques. So I hope to see you in that video. Thanks for watching. Bye.